Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Action Toon Bros.
Oh my goodness.
And all new season.
Yeah. Finally, we got to this, what would this be, season 2 of Action Toon Bros?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, for those of you who are new,
Matthew Lewis, host of the show, and my co-host,
Ben Sturgeon, and we're here once again. I know we've had a wild year of hiatus because of the incidents.
Yep.
Thanks to YouTube, we can't say what it is exactly.
Oh yeah, I hear.
But we are just two guys who like to nerd out over action cartoons, and we review them for you. Hopefully, we can get you to watch them, and if it's not your thing, whatever. At least you got someone to listen to. Talk to you about it.
We just recently got a little bit of a spike recently for over COVID because of the
copyright
strike. And I said it so fast I won't be able to pick it up. Like some of the core episodes and stuff have been popping back up because of some of the Twitter action and stuff like that. So much appreciated. Any new listeners, welcome to the show. Hope you enjoy our new series we're covering. We just wrapped up, well, technically by this point of the recording, we would have wrapped up Korra and Young Justice. We did do the Young Justice episode.
Yep, we did.
Yep, but this new show we are doing is a personal favorite of mine, a series I absolutely love.
And if you remember from Legend of Korra, for those of you who are longtime listeners, this is another show that I haven't ever watched.
Yeah, we got a new perspective and a fan's perspective. Before we start, we'll say what the series is. It is She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Yep, and the Netflix one, not the old 80s one.
Well, that's just She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so that's
I didn't know that.
A very minor difference. I was going to say, before we get into it, the episode synopsis is for the first 3 episodes. Ben, how familiar are you with the He-Man and She-Ra universe?
Okay, except for what everyone's going to expect, the freaking meme of He-Man. Except for that one. I'm not going to say what it is. But I actually know very little. I know I knew it was at least He-Man.
Yeah,
I never
universe.
knew She-Ra was a thing.
Really?
Yeah, seriously, I know.
In the OG series, it was a thing.
Right, yeah, I know that now. Like, it was later on before She-Ra and the Princesses of Power came out.
Yeah.
But I remember it being an 80s TV show. I remember they did a remake of the series on Cartoon Network, which I watched a few episodes
in the aughts,
of.
yeah, I think. Yeah.
And then let's not talk about that 80s movie.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that one. You remember.
The Dolph Lundgren one.
Other than that, like, it was like a few years ago when they started talking, like, I mean, I think this show was in season 2 by then.
Maybe, yeah.
That's when I heard about that and heard that it was actually in the same universe, which, when we get into this episode, we're going to find out that there are some ties. Well, at least one, maybe 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're not too familiar, I was going to say with the series, so the old She-Ra cartoon was like everything in the 80s, a very, like, toy selling focused, like, enemy of the week, new character every week, new weird vehicle or whatever. But you know who, like, Skeletor is.
Oh yeah, of course I know Skeletor.
But the villain of this series, Horde, you're not familiar with, I would assume.
He looks familiar.
Yeah, that's a very familiar face.
Yeah, the face is definitely familiar.
Yeah.
However, I have no recollection of that.
So you don't know his connection to Skeletor or vice versa.
You don't know. Was that where I got it from?
No, you don't know She-Ra's connection to He-Man.
No. No. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
And I don't want to question it because not only time, but but I mean, I want to be surprised.
Of course.
But speaking of being surprised, let's start off, shall we?
Yeah, episode 1,
which is the Sword,
part 1. Oh yeah, opens up without an intro. We see a bunch of crazy space and a field of flowers. In a weird, distant planet, presumably. And then we zoom in on an evil diesel punk-looking lair with techno music.
Yeah. First thing, it was just like, wow, look at all this sci-fi. And that's when we get to see our main character, Adora.
Yeah. Oh, we don't know her name yet. I just wrote blonde girl practicing. She's strapping some weird metal gears to, like, armor to herself, and she's kind of just practicing in the mirror while, like, brushing her teeth.
Brushing her teeth. Even with a punching bag with, like, this weird, like, scared, spooky lady on it. And she's just like, yo, princess, you looking at me? Kicks the crap out of it some more. Which right there, I'm just like, wait. I may be new to the series, but I know who you are. What?
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is one I'm going to put out now. As we first hear her speak, her voice actress, Amy Carrero, is a really, really funny actor. She's in a bunch of stuff, but I know that she's like a huge D&D fan. She's really funny on Twitter. She's very politically active. She's wonderful. She's really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, you might have seen her in some other stuff. We see her meet up with a squad. We see a weird lizard man. We see some weird normal-looking white kid. And we see a black girl all in the same squad. They ask, where's Catra?
Yep, and nobody knows where the mysterious Catra is.
Yeah.
But then the superior walks in and goes, all right, training simulation time.
Yeah.
You have to go through the Whispering Woods to get to the rebel insurgents known as Bright Moon? Yeah, Bright Moon.
Yeah.
And then it's like, your mission, defeat the Queen of the Princesses. I'm like, okay, whoa. First off, everything sounds normal, but Queen of the Princesses?
Yeah.
What?
In Lord Hordak's name.
Yes, in Lord Hordak's name. That's the important part.
And they say, princesses, of course, as we all know, are vicious, violent instigators.
Just remember, Disney lied to you. All princesses are evil and must be destroyed in Hordak's name.
Yeah, of course.
And that's when it begins.
Yeah, they fight some weird giant training robots with holograms that make them look like princesses shooting lasers at them. While they start the training, we see I wrote like a big-haired cat girl watching the group.
Distance, in the shadows,
kind of following them. We see that the normal-looking weird white kid is Kyle. He's taken out immediately by a group.
Yeah, I just love it because after he gets out, it's like it's like the Jerry of the group or the Bernice of the group. It's like, really, Kyle, really?
You're gonna see that's a running gag.
Yeah. Oh, is it gonna be?
Oh, of course.
Oh, lovely.
This is when we learned that her name is Adora, and she takes out a giant robot that looks like the same weird Queen of the Princesses that we got the reference to earlier.
Right, yeah, and it's just like a giant spherical looking robot.
Yeah, she successfully takes it out, but it's like dangling over a hole. That's when the cat girl jumps down and kicks the robot in the pit and points out that Adora is now lying on a hole that's about to fall.
Yep, big old red tile, and then it falls, and thanks to her trusty staff, which, by the way, she has that, by the way, she does not fall into the hole, in which case, the cat girl's like, how's it hanging?
Oh, no, wait, sorry, my friend. You have to, her number one catchphrase you will hear 1,000 times.
Say it, my friend.
Hey, Adora.
Wait, that's a catchphrase?
Yeah,
that counts as a catchphrase.
She is going to say
hi
that
to someone.
Hey, Adora. She will say that in that way, in that tone, 1,000 times during this series, and it is wonderful every time because that is her catchphrase. Her voice. This is when we see Catra. We see Adora complain to her. AJ Michalka is also, you may know her as the voice of Stevani.
That would be why she sounded familiar.
Yeah. She's also in a band with her sister, Ali and AJ. You may have seen on some Disney stuff back in the day.
Really? Band?
Yeah.
Huh. No, I don't see. I don't remember old Disney very well.
Yeah. Well, not always like the aughts,
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, after this happens, we get some locker room shenanigans where Catra and Adora are apparently really good friends.
Yeah. She's like, playfully mean to her.
Yeah, very playfully mean. But, Adora takes it back. But Adora's all about, hey, we're senior cadets. We shouldn't be up. Is that a mouse?
Yeah, she's like, where? She freaks out. She's like, come on, that was one time. Quit messing with me.
and as that's happening, this is when we meet probably one of the more interesting characters.
Oh, absolutely.
Shadow Weaver.
Shadow Weaver is a superior, some weird dark witch lady who's very nice to Adora and very mean to Catra.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Shadow Weaver's just like, Adora, good job. And Adora's like, well, it wasn't just me. Catra was there too. And Shadow Weaver's just not having it.
Yeah, she's like, Catra, what are you doing? Screwing up again?
Yeah, she keeps screwing up and all that stuff. And of course, Catra gets like one quick jab at her. And it's just like, she goes all rage mode because like everything starts turning dark a little bit, and she's like, "What did you say?" He's like, "Sorry." And then of course Shadow Weaver's like, "Adora, come with me."
Come with me. She tells her that Lord Hordak likes what she's doing so far and how she's doing, and she's being promoted to Force Captain. She's like, "Oh, that's great! I can't wait to take my whole team." She's like, "No, Adora, just you. You're going with a new squad." Adora really wants Catra to join them, but Shadow Weaver says, come on, when I took you in as an orphan and I raised you, you've been doing really good, but Catra's a screw-up.
What? We found out that Shadow Weaver is Adora's mom?
Adopted, I guess.
Yeah, adopted mom.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, it's just tomorrow you're going to go to Thamor with the group, and you're going to lead, and you're going to lead on the on the invasion of the rebel, because invasion is such a great word to use when you're the good guy.
Hey, it's a rebel base. This is when we cut to Bright Moon for the first time, and we meet the queen,
who looks like an angel lady with long pink hair.
And her name we don't know yet, but
nope, not yet.
I wrote that, I think, when we find out her name. But we see that she is chastising a pink-haired girl, Commander Glimmer.
Yep, good old Commander Glimmer, who apparently was disobeying orders when all she wanted to do was save a village from the Horde.
Yeah, fight the Horde back. Now, we meet Glimmer. We see that we don't see yet what her powers are, but I know that her voice actress, Karen Fukuhara, you might recognize. Have you seen The Boys?
It's been a while, because the only one I saw was the one you let me watch.
What, the first episode? Or
No, you sent the thing.
Oh, you saw the first season, or?
Yeah, I think you sent me this first
Okay,
season.
well, she is the woman, or the female, a.k.a. Kimiko.
Oh, really? That's the voice.
That's Glimmer, yeah.
Holy crap.
Also, you saw Suicide Squad. Katana?
Yeah, we all watched it.
Yeah, Katana.
That's her, too?
Yeah, that's her as well. She's Glimmer.
See, with that one, she wore a mask.
And she doesn't speak in either of them.
No, yeah, right.
She has a really, nice voice. She plays mean characters.
I was so surprised, because they don't talk.
Yeah, neither of those characters talk. But yeah, she plays both of them. She's really, really funny. She also has, a really good YouTube channel and
This
stuff.
scene, I thought, was hilarious, because as Glimmer's getting chastised, the queen just says, "All right, that's enough. You're grounded." I'm like, what? And then, of course, it goes to the shenanigans, like, Mom! I'm like, oh my god, no. This never turns out well.
Yep, we learn Glimmer is the queen's daughter, making her, of course, a princess. They start acting like angry parent and child, I wrote in my notes.
And one of my favorite parent lines.
Yeah.
"You're embarrassing me in front of the royal guard." I'm like, oh my god. Yep, so that ensues, and then Glimmer's sent to her room, and she's obviously upset. Because, I mean, come on, when you're a teen, and you have to follow military orders from your mother, yeah, it kind of sucks that you have to get grounded.
Yeah, and this is when we cut back to Adora contemplating, and she's tackled by Catra, and she's like, "Oh, what's this? You got promoted?" And Catra's incredibly happy, saying, "Oh man, we're gonna get to blow stuff up. This is gonna be great."
Yeah, Catra is so adorable.
I know.
But then, of course, that's when Adora drops they only want me to. In which case, Catra's just like, Shadow Weaver hates me because, she doesn't have real power and all that stuff. And Adora's like, well, you are kind of disrespectful.
Yeah, but
and then they have a little spat about
that.
Yeah,
a little spat because Catra's kind of like, "Oh, I'm just not a people pleaser like you," and she's just like,
and
really
just
upset.
runs away.
Yeah, she jumps up on the thing, and it's just like Adora chases after her and apologizes, and Catra says, "Man, I just want to leave the fright zone." And Adora's like, "Well, how about a joyride?"
Yep, and they steal a skiff, which is kind of like a speeder in Star Wars.
Yeah, but immediately, of course, she regrets it because Catra's driving like a maniac.
Yeah, and then like to the point where she's like, "Let me drive," and they have that whole argument where they're holding the steering thing, like, "Let me drive, no, me drive," and then they almost hit the Whispering Woods.
Hell yeah, they get lost. There's no... What does it say? They get lost in the Whispering Woods. No Horde squad has ever escaped the Whispering Woods, we learn.
Yep, and then, of course, Catra's like, "Oh, wow, okay. Let's go deeper."
Yep, and, of course, Adora gets tackled off of the skiff by a vine.
I was going to say, yeah. As she's going way too fast, Vine hits her, and, of course, Catra's like, "No!" And then Adora falls in a bunch of, like, a bunch
grassy
of bushes and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
that's the exact same phrase.
Right, nice. And then after a while, she comes to, and she sees a bright glow from a sword,
a mystical magic sword in the ground. She slowly approaches it and touches it, and we see a bunch of crazy visions. In my notes, I wrote, we see a weird, like, Grace Jones-looking lady. We see a weird warrior with long hair. We hear a baby crying. We see a bunch of planets in the sky. It's a whole bunch of crazy visions.
And apparently, it's like, apparently the voice even says, balance must be restored.
Yeah.
Etheria must seek a hero. And then we see all of that stuff, and then it's like, Adora. And then it cuts to, like, literally, like, that melded thing where Adora wakes up and Catra's like, "Adora!"
Yeah, wake up. Adora saves her, and she says, "Oh my god, Adora, please don't be brain damaged."
Because Adora talks about the sword, but the sword's not there.
Yeah, this is when she says, "I'm not brain damaged, come on, let's go back." And this is when we cut to Bright Moon. We see a weird, mysterious ninja, like, creeping around the woods.
Oh, Lord. And then as all that's happening, this weird, mysterious ninja looks into a big ol' open window we see Glimmer.
Yeah, writing a letter saying, "Mom, I feel like you don't respect me."
It's funny because she's like, "Mom, I don't think you're gonna ever read this," but so I'm like, "Are you writing a note in your journal to your mom?" I mean, very therapeutic, but
of course,
really,
letters you don't mail. It's a classic.
Then immediately the ninja attacks. An arrow shooms forth and almost hits Glimmer.
Yeah,
but luckily the assailant left a note. Look outside with that winky-faced person.
Yeah, a little cartoon winky face.
and that's when Glimmer looks out and is like, "You almost hit me." That's when we meet my favorite boy so far.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Bo. Bo. Who, the first line he ever says is hilarious because, "Hey, Glimmer."
Yeah, hey, Glimmer. She's like, "Be quiet." What?
Yeah, we get a whole bunch
classic.
of "I'm grounded." What? Then we finally get to see her powers. She can teleport.
Oh yeah.
And every time she teleports, it leaves a, dare I say it, a glimmer. So she teleports Bo in and is like, "Look, I'm grounded. I can't do anything."
Yeah, we learn about her mission to try to save a town. And she's like, "Oh, come on, my mom's really pissed at me because we fought the Horde as opposed to running away or whatever." Bo talks about a scanner that he has that can scan for First One's tech, whatever that means. Mm-hmm. And he says it's rare and valuable and it's somewhere in the woods.
And of course, at first, Glimmer's like, "Remember, I'm grounded. I can't do anything." And that's when you hear the mom like, "Hey, Glimmer, are you in there? Is everything okay?" And of course, Glimmer quickly teleports Bo out, comes in, and they have another spat because mom's like, "I heard voices in there." And Glimmer's like, "There's no one in here. Leave me alone," kind of thing. And it literally zooms out to Bo looking at his little device as there is an argument in the background that you don't get to hear much of.
Just awkward overhearing your friend's parents argue.
Right? And then after all of that happens, Glimmer just teleports out. "I'm in."
Yeah, we're going on an adventure. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is when we see back at the Fright Zone, Catra sleeps at the foot of Adora's bed. Adorable.
Yeah, right.
Adora keeps seeing and hearing the visions she heard before, and so she attempts to sneak out.
And then, of course, Catra catches her.
Wakes up, but is told not to follow as she's going back to the woods.
Oh, what was it? Like, if anyone asks, take the fall for me or something like that.
Yeah, just cover for me.
Yeah, cover for me. That's what it is.
This is when we cut back to Glimmer and Bo. They're still wandering in the woods, and they find the sword, just as Adora does.
Immediately. And obviously, more shenanigans ensue, because it's like, no, Glimmer's like, "No, my sword, Horde scum."
No, yeah, when they see each other across the field, because Adora's about to give up, they're just like, "Horde soldier, ah!"
Right, yes.
They're like screaming.
Literally, it's just, and it's like, and of course, Adora, being, military in her own regard, doesn't even scream like this.
She just like scowls all seriously and just like immediately beelines for the sword, really cool, and then they have a really cool fight.
Yeah, they do.
But
we find out that Bo is actually good. Well, with a bow.
Of course.
Yes, everyone. Bo is the guy who uses a bow.
Well, I mean,
that's his shtick.
You're gonna get with the pun names real soon with this series, and I absolutely love it because everyone has very literal names like Shadow Weaver, and there's I don't know. I was about to spoil another character's name, but
I was gonna say
it's fun. But they actually do have a good fight.
They really do. Yeah.
Adora does overpower them and again reach the sword. And this is when she sees that weird Grace Jones looking figure again appears to her, saying that she is Light Hope, and we see that she's like glitches kind of like a hologram. She says the sword was waiting for her, and she must fight for the honor of Grayskull.
What? This can't be. That's a He-Man reference.
That's a He-Man place or something.
Well, as all that's happening, of course, Adora
passes out again.
Well, yeah, but as she's talking to Light Hope, understandably so, Adora's like, "I don't understand any of this." Mm-hmm. And of course, Light Hope, in her weird, omniscient way, is just like, "You will," and floats away. And then Adora wakes up being bound, while Glimmer and Bo have the sword and are like, "Let's take her to the Bright Moon. My mom will know what to do." Pulls Bo to the side. Oh my gosh.
I love Glimmer so much. She's wonderful.
She's great.
Glimmer is using the tracker. She wants to interrogate, of course, Adora, like Ben said. But of course, using the tracker, she still ends up getting lost. Adora asks how Bo can be working with a princess. They're evil instigators. What are you doing? And then she's just like, our Bo's kind of like, "You don't really know what a princess is, do you?"
You've never seen one, have you? Well, no, but No.
But it's common knowledge, of course, everyone knows this. They come across a destroyed house, and Glimmer says this is the Horde's fault, and this is what they do. Adora is shocked and says, the Horde doesn't do that, what are you talking about? The Hordak says, what we're doing is right for return for Etheria.
Yep. And you almost
almost spoiled.
But anyway, but of course, Glimmer is not having it because Horde soldier Glimmer immediately does not trust Adora.
She says
just like Adora does not immediately
the
trust.
Horde are destroying the world. How did she not know that? And this is when they are attacked by a gigantic bug monster.
Big bug monster.
Yeah, Bo and Glimmer have tried to defend Adora, and while they are fighting off the bug monster and soundly losing, Adora finally gets free, grabs the sword, and is at an impasse, deciding if she should stay and try to help or just flee with the sword. Once again, she decides to stay and is hit by more visions.
Yep. And then, as all those visions ensue, she actually gets to say those immortal words that you will always hear. Mm-hmm. For the honor of Grayskull. And thus, after a actually very good magical girl transformation.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to 80s anime and other magical girls transformations where they almost seem naked. None of that, because it's tasteful this time.
Yeah, very cool transformation. She turns into a very tall, blonde warrior. Glowing, weird, cool-ass aesthetic. And that is where the episode ends for episode 1.
Episode 1 is over with that, and cliffhanger, and what a start, man.
I know.
What a start. I mean, oh my goodness. It's just...
Yeah, so you didn't have any idea about She-Ra's connection to He-Man before?
I must have forgotten, because, like I said, I knew they were connected somehow. I just don't know how they're connected. But either way, oh my gosh. When I heard For the Honor of Grayskull, I'm like, oh, that's right. This is a connect. Those worlds connect somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Oh my goodness. As of right now, I'm gonna do favorite female, favorite male. Although that's not fair because there's only one male.
No, we've met 3.
3? Oh, yeah, no. You're right. Because let's be honest, Kyle is like Jerry. Nobody likes Kyle right now. He just seems to be the
I almost spoiled the lizard's name, but they're around for a while.
Yeah. Well, either way. So obviously, Bo is my favorite boy. I mean. He's just so precious.
He is a wonderful little cinnamon bun man.
And he's actually somewhat smart.
He's smart. Oh yeah, we'll find out he's way real smart. But also he's a very, very fun, very nice, very cool character.
Yeah, like literally when I saw like this bunch of episodes, he literally is just Bolin from Korra. No, Bolin.
I know. I'm saying Bo is smarter than Bolin.
Yeah, I know. But he's like the Bolin of this group.
Of course.
My favorite girl, however, come on, you know who it is. It's Catra.
Yeah, of course. Catra's,
it's Catra.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Gosh darn adorable.
Yeah, Catra is probably like I was going to say, one of my favorite characters in all of fiction is probably Azula in anything. But upon watching this entire series, Catra is neck and neck with my favorite character in any kind of fiction. She is wonderful, and she's gonna go crazy. It's great, but she's a really fun character. She's really conflicted.
Really
she's really intense, but she has a lot of character already.
She really does. Yeah. I'd say the weakest character right now, because we don't see much of her, is Mom.
Oh yeah, I almost let her say her name, but yeah, we find out. I think in this episode, in the next episode, we find out.
I don't think it's going to be... I think it's episode 3.
Yeah. Because they see it in the subtitles. But yeah, I love all the characters because they're all very unique and very, very well written so far.
And actually, that is another thing I noticed with this. Even some of the side characters I don't get much seem to be actually well impactful to the story kind of thing. Like the whole team, the squad on its own. All of those people, even Kyle rolls eyes. They actually do seem like they're well fleshed out. Heck, we don't know much about Shadow Weaver, and we already know so much.
Yeah, you're already immensely curious about that character. I want to spoil something about Shadow Weaver so badly that I can't, but she has another name. I just want to say, it's really cool, but we'll get there when we get there.
Speaking of getting there, how about we head on over to The Sword.
Part 2. Almost a part dos. Out of reflex.
This
is when we finally get an intro that shows multiple characters. Very spoilery.
Good thing I skipped the intros then.
Good. I like the song enough, but I usually do skip because I'm so I want to get back to the action for this story, back to the plot, the characters.
I keep forgetting that we're actually doing a podcast, so I have to at least watch the intro to one episode. But I skipped every single intro because, like you said, I want to get the action in.
I know, you gotta see what these characters are up to. We see Adora still as the tall warrior, standing there, and she's just like, what the heck? She somehow pacifies the bug.
Yeah, that's right. She, touched it with her sword. Not, stabbed it with the sword. Yeah. Just touched it, and the bug just, totally stops.
Calms down, stops freaking out. She then freaks out, though, screaming and falls over and returns to normal.
Yep. And then, of course, Glimmer is still not having it because she's all let's make sure she doesn't do the thing again.
Yeah, she immediately takes the sword, and Adora is really angry. Like, what the heck? I didn't know being a princess was contagious.
Right? And then immediately when Glimmer actually gets the sword, well, the bug unpacifies.
Yep, immediately becomes angry again, and Bo gives it back, saying, do it again, do it again.
do the thing, please.
And they flee for their lives.
Yep. And,
they find a forest clearing when they fall down a big ravine, and they see a big pyramid ruin.
Ah, yes. And, of course, as they all run to it, and Glimmer and Bo are like, what are we going to do? We can't do anything. Adora immediately goes, I can read this.
Yeah,
what?
Glimmer's like, I want to teleport in, and then Bo's like, you can't teleport 3 people, that's too crazy.
That's too much energy.
Yeah.
That's going to be a going trend too, by the way. And then, of course, you're right, because that's when Adora's like, hey, I can actually read this. It says...
Etheria.
What? And then the door opens.
Yep.
It powers on immediately when she says that.
Yeah.
And the door opens and they go in. Door closes before the bug gets in.
Yeah. We also learned that what that writing is first one's writing. Glimmer does not trust that Adora can read it because no one's supposed to be able to read it.
Yeah, because it was literally the only people who used to read it are, what was it, 100 years or 1,000 years?
Probably maybe 100 or 1,000. I'm not really sure myself.
Either way, it was a civilization a long, long time ago.
Yeah, and she again goes into why she doesn't trust the Horde because, I can't trust you. You're the Horde. She starts getting in tears from losing someone she lost.
Yeah, which I guess we're going to find out later on. But of course, Bo's like, guys, let's try to go through here, all right? Yeah. And of course, Glimmer is using her powers not for teleportation this time, but as a light. Yeah,
light source. This is when they go in. Bo tries to be friendly with Adora. But of course, Glimmer is just watching come on, don't befriend this Horde scum. Well, and we see a very nice quick scene of her trying to say for the honor of Grayskull, and see if she can activate the sword.
But it's funny also because Bo's trying to be nice. Not only is Glimmer don't be a friend, but Adora's I don't befriend my captors.
Yeah, she's still very serious. This is when we learn Adora does not know what a first one is. We learn that it is an ancient people that settled on the planet Etheria and only left ruins behind.
And of course, it's what happened to them? We don't know. They just vanished from existence, what we know.
Glimmer struggles to light the area, and we learn that the princesses need to charge their powers.
Yep, that's when we learn, because anyone who can use magic has to recharge somehow.
Yep. We see a giant stained glass portrait of the blonde warrior form again, and we learn from the first one speak underneath, she is called She-Ra.
And as she says that, the entire interior lights up and activates kind of like the door, and we see Light Hope.
Yeah, but to say a very low res hologram of her kind of programmed
Yeah, and of course she's input.
Does not sense admin need admin input to process, and it's just very not paying attention. They try to activate it, they try to communicate, but they are unable to.
And then while Glimmer and Bo are a hologram. This is technology we've not seen in a long time. Glimmer decides to touch the hologram, and that's when all things go bad.
Oh yeah, they start messing up. Adora says, I need the sword, and they say, no way, that's not happening. The building starts to collapse because the hologram is not getting any admin input.
And Glimmer does it. She teleports 3 people out of the building.
Yep.
And, they're safe. She did well in getting them safe. But she's now incredibly tired.
No, I'm about to say getting them safe. No, she teleports in the middle of the air.
Yeah, but they don't.
And they all fall. They're about to fall to their death, but Bo fortunately saves the whole group while she passes out from that strain of using her powers.
Well, sort of, because she does actually get back up almost quickly. Because it's like, hey, are you okay? She's like, I'm fine. But
she's also shocked to see that Adora stuck around while she was passed out. And she's like, me and Bo aren't expert security. You could have left at any time. And she says, I need to figure out what's going on with the Horde and with that sword, and something's going on.
There's a part of me I don't know. There's a part of me I want to know. And, I can't do that alone, can I?
Yeah, she also says the magic feels vaguely familiar to her.
Right. And then, of course, that's when Bo's like, look, her mom, Glimmer's mom, can actually help out with this. So for the time being, truce.
Yeah, truce.
And yes, they have a truce.
Yep, Glimmer says, a village is nearby, let's head there. This when we cut back to Shadow Weaver trying to find Adora, and of course blames Catra, saying it's her job to bring her back.
Of course.
What are you doing? What's going up?
Yeah,
we see.
What are you doing? How did you fail?
Yeah, Catra's just like, quit bugging me. I don't know. And then we see Shadow Weaver using magic, and she freezes Catra in place and threatens her.
Yeah, this is like the first time we actually see her use her powers, to an extent like that. And of course, Catra's like, okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, she got freaking out and sweating, like, oh, fine. She's giving into the threats. This is when we come back to Glimmer and the crew find a weird satyr village.
Dude, I love how they looked in this.
I love how everything has really cool designs.
It does.
Like, that's one thing you're going to find out. Another thing I forgot to bring up about Amy Kura. She is a huge D&D fan. The voice actress for...
You
did I mention that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. You're going to see a lot of, stuff like that in the show. But, this feels like a really cool D&D campaign in a really unique setting.
It really does.
I love the show.
Well, in this satyr village, we find out that Adora is like, whoa, and of course Glimmer's like, in and out only. That's it.
Yep. And cover up that Horde outfit.
Oh yeah. They put her up, and it's funny as they take off Adora's jacket with her undershirt still on, gives her a weird flowy robe kind of shawl kind of thing, and Adora's just like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. But when they go in, Adora is admiring all of this, and Bo's like, yeah, it's a festival. Wait. You don't have festivals?
What's up? Of course we have festivals. She's like, it's like a party. She's just
a party kind of.
I don't know what
I have no idea. And of course, we have a montage of Bo taking Adora to all these different things.
Yeah, different food
Adora,
stands and
trying. I just love it because she tries a different food and her eyes just widen and sparkle while Glimmer's in the distance looking at this, and you can definitely see there's some consideration going on.
Yeah, she's kind of conflicted now about how innocent Adora seems, and
oh my goodness, it's so great. And then of course, after all of that happens, Bo's like, okay, so what do you do for your birthday? Adora's like, birthday?
Yeah.
And of course Bo's like, no. You don't have birthdays? We actually see in this one short scene, even though it's one village, we see a difference, which is very important because with Adora, we've only seen her with the Horde.
Yeah.
Now we get to see the other side of it, and we actually see that everything's normal, everything's fine. And of course, Adora is very conflicted about this because, they're rebels, they're evil.
They're instigators, they can't control their powers. And this is when Adora freaks out when she sees a horse. She's like, oh my god, what is it?
Right. I forgot about horse teeth.
It's so majestic.
Yeah, it's like, that's a horse.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's so majestic. Hey, go meet him. No.
Yeah.
No. See, look, he likes you. Does the hand on the nose thing, and the horse is okay with it.
Yeah, she's immediately almost in tears, like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's the best day of her life, and she says.
And then, attack.
I would say, suddenly, the Horde is there, and they're destroying the village.
And, we're talking, tanks, orbs.
Oh, yeah.
And Adora is literally, you can definitely see she is shattered by this.
Yeah, because she immediately realizes, this is her mission.
Glimmer mentions that, we got to get the citizens of Thamor out. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Thamor's supposed to be a base, a militant base.
And it was her mission to take it out.
It was indeed, and that's when she gets shattered even more.
Yeah, this must be a mistake, she thinks. She tells them, this can't be real. We see her, she's like, I'm going to go and talk to the Horde people. She's like, oh, that's a bad idea. Wait, Adora. And she runs off. We see Catra's like, oh, Adora. She's happy to see her.
Adora, amazing. And then, as, Adora's like, look, we can't do this. But Catra's like, come on, you've had your fun. Let's go back home.
Yeah, I love the scene where Catra's like, come on, really? Like, you were out for one day and you immediately got captured? What were you doing? He's like, Adora, or Catra, we gotta stop the attack. And she's like, what are you talking about? Come on, let's just go home.
Yep.
Adora's, this is one of my favorite exchanges ever. Adora says, the Horde is bad and they're destroying people and they're destroying lives. And like, they're like, Shadow Weaver and the Horde are lying to us. And Catra is like, duh.
Duh. It's Shadow Weaver. Shadow Weaver manipulates. Of course she's lying to us.
Yeah, and she's just like, it doesn't matter. Who cares? And then she's just like, what are you talking about, Catra?
Yeah, Adora then is just like, I'm sorry. I have to protect these things. And then one of the other funny moments, Catra, in all seriousness, zaps her. And then is like, that must have been a little too hard. I'm sorry. And then does it again. What are you doing? Sorry, reflex. I'm like, oh wow. Because you can definitely tell that she doesn't want to do this with just that one exchange.
Yeah, of course.
She's like, I don't want to do this, but I have to.
Also, one of the classic mentalities for this kind of thing. Catra says, after she says, of course we don't trust Hordak, and of course you don't trust Shadow Weaver, but it'll be different when we're in charge of me and you. Mm-hmm. That's a classic thing. We'll change it from the inside whenever you see a good guy working for the bad guys. But we see Bo and Glimmer trying to flee, but of course Glimmer wants to go back for Adora. And they see the horse that she was playing with earlier, and like, oh, come on, we'll use the horse to find her.
And they do, and when Catra's still trying to convince Adora to come back and stop this,
let's go home.
Yep. Bo and Glimmer appear. Bo actually gets to fight Catra, while Glimmer teleports Adora away.
Yeah.
And Bo actually holds his end pretty darn well.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem is it was against Catra. So Catra keeps getting the upper hand a few times.
Of course.
But meanwhile, we go back to Glimmer.
Yep, she passes. She's passing out from the teleportation, still draining her. She gives Adora back the sword, so I should have given this back to you earlier. Once again, Adora transforms into She-Ra in a great magical girl sequence and immediately kills all the Horde robots, with ease.
Again, robots. It's a kid's show still, so people don't die yet.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, everyone's like, retreat! And everyone, because all the Horde people did not see the transformation, but when Adora cannot control the She-Ra power and turns back to normal, the smoke settles, and we actually see that Catra actually saw this happen.
Oh, yeah.
And then she just does I can't believe this is happening, slow back up and run away.
Yeah, it's real intense. But then we see Bo and Glimmer are happy, but Adora freaks out that she now has nowhere to go. They offer her Bright Moon. Let's go. And we get Bo's best friend squad.
Yes.
Whose horse is this?
Whose horse is this? And that's actually when they affectionately named the horse Horsey. Because Horsey is going to be very important. We'll learn that maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when the episode ends.
That's the end of the Sword two-parter.
Oh, wow. The season premiere two-parter, as I like to call it. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
They put in a heck of a lot for this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Just we got it all almost, because we had on the first part we had I'm evil, and then oh no, maybe I couldn't be evil, but she's still evil, and then she gets power and only uses it for a brief moment. This episode is literally just, hey, maybe I shouldn't be evil, to I'm not evil anymore, to yay, more power.
The series literally starts with a redemption arc, so
it literally does.
Never see that anywhere else. It's so good.
Oh, but dude, just that one scene with Catra just looking in heartbreak and just I'm like, oh no, this was the betrayal. This was the betrayal all along.
Yeah, I also absolutely love that Catra's just 100% down with the Horde destroys. Yeah, the Horde's bad.
Yeah,
it's just such a great thing for Adora to realize. Yeah,
and that's the thing about Catra. She's not evil. Mm-hmm. She's just highly chaotic. But
absolutely, she's a like I said, she's gonna get a progressively better and better character. She's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But I do love Adora's whole arc, and everyone is so fleshed out in this season too.
Indeed, yeah.
I love it to death. But yeah, do you know what Eternia is? I assume
Eternia.
Yeah,
that's the world that He-Man is from.
Okay, and do you know what Castle Grayskull is?
By the power of Grayskull,
Yeah.
I have the power?
Yeah, I'm saying,
Come on.
yeah, of course. Do you know...
Although, here's my question about all that. By the way, if you haven't seen He-Man, spoilers. The sorceress that's in Castle Grayskull, is that supposed to be Light Hope? That's my question. If it gets answered, don't answer it.
The sorceress? No.
They're not correlated at all?
They're correlated because, well... I don't know if I don't want to say anything too much because, like I said, there's a lot to find out. But
I was gonna say, if it does get revealed, don't say it because I want to find out on my own.
I was gonna say, but you know, like I say, you don't know how much about He-Man. You know who Skeletor is, but do you get that? You know what the deal with He-Man and Skeletor and Grayskull is?
Like the whole background with
like
it?
what Grayskull is and what the point of it is.
Isn't like some point of power, like whoever has Grayskull can control Eternia kind of thing?
And both He-Man and Skeletor have like the halves of the sword that can control it.
Right, yeah, okay. See, I did remember some of it, just not the detail with the whole halves of the sword thing.
Also, I was going to say, also about the original OG She-Ra show, which if you ever watch any, there's tons of montages of how like bad and corny and terribly written it is back in the day. But
well, it was an 80s show.
Of course, yeah. But I was going to say, the beginning, like, setup for She-Ra before she joins He-Man's series is literally exactly this. She is working for the Horde.
Really?
In that original series, too, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I had no idea, too, until I, like, looked it up and found out. But, there's going to be a lot of context, there's going to be a lot of lore in this series.
Indeed.
Got a lot to catch up on.
And now, speaking of a lot to catch on, we have to do the final episode of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
I missed saying that so much. But now we have to go to episode 3, Raz.
Now, bizarrely enough, it's really weird, but, are you familiar with Tim and Eric? Awesome show, great job.
Sort of. Oh, Tim and Eric?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, okay.
The one you just said? Not sure.
The original show, there was a freaking song that, like, it's so stupid, but...
Well, yeah, it's Tim and Eric.
Yeah, of course, but, like...
Wait a minute, DC content.
Yeah.
Come on with us now, hop on my jet ski, grab into my waist, take a ride with me, please.
No,
every time I hear Raz, that was less than 30 seconds, but every time I hear the name Raz, I immediately think of that song.
Well, hey now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's start the episode.
Oh, just the name, but yeah, even the name title. We start with them still riding back to town, Glimmer on the horse still completely drained, and Adora is shocked at the beauty of the buildings in front of her.
Yep, it's like, oh wow, look at all of this. This is so beautiful. It's like, yep, welcome to Bright Moon.
Yeah. Glimmer is dreading talking to her mom, of course.
Of course, yeah. She's like, well, I'm gonna have to, tell her everything. Here, take her, Bo, take her the back way. And of course, Adora's like, wait, there's a back way? And we find out it was a cliff.
Yeah, a sheer cliff.
when we saw Bo's introduction, he shot an arrow over a ravine. Yep. And we find out they're actually climbing up the side of the ravine where the castle is.
Yep, and we see Bo give her a robe, and this is when she realizes, oh, you guys are hiding me from the queen, aren't you?
And of course Bo's like, yeah, you're a Horde soldier. They're not exactly gonna be, inviting you in a little bit.
Yeah, and the door's like, how bad? And then he says, pitchforks and torches. This is when Glimmer arrives in front of her mom and she's being chastised, but the Glimmer passes out from exhaustment. The queen...
from
mom,
what? Exhaustment?
Yeah, from exhaustion.
Exhaustion?
No, exhaustment. I'm pretty that's
anyway,
word.
But then this is where we finally get to see, because we mentioned in the last episode that Glimmer actually has, I'm going to go nerdy with this, a mana pool. And when she uses too much of it, she starts getting weaker. We finally get to see the process of, her getting her magic powers back. Yeah,
we see when she's recharged, she wakes and sees her mom, and she's like, I'm still upset with you, but I just wanted to make sure you were safe. She's just like, okay, well, we were on a mission, we stopped the Horde in the Horde base. She kind of tells her the whole information of what happened, except for leaving out Adora and She-Ra.
Yeah, and we have a surprise. Because that's what the Adora part is we have a surprise for you.
Yep. Bo wants what does he says? He says the people of Bright Moon have lost a lot of people to the Horde, and they are not quite ready to see you yet.
Right, and so they were going to build it up. And that's when Glimmer appears and says, okay, Mom's on the way, here's the sword, do the thing.
Yep, and the door says, I can't control it, and she's unable to transform just on the spot.
Right, yeah, it's not like an on-off switch. She can't just flip it on, off right now. Yeah. So she even tries, for the honor of Grayskull. Nothing happens, and of course Glimmer's like, don't worry, we'll buy you time.
Yep.
And so they leave, And
They say stay here,
yeah,
stay hidden.
Stay here, stay hidden. Try to turn into She-Ra, but of course, being the main character, she looks and we find out she starts going. Oh, she sees the horse.
Yeah,
she sees
outside.
Horsey.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
She sees Horsey, and she actually goes out to Horsey and goes, you know what? This is a lot more room, because she tries for the honor of Grayskulling in the room and starts almost destroying everything because there's not a lot of room.
Yep.
So she goes outside and she's like, wow, there's a lot of space. And we get so many different montages. For the honor of Grayskull. For the honor of Grayskull. All these different ones. And of course, she's just like, okay, this isn't going to work. And I forget. She says, "Come on, do something for the honor of Grayskull," and then something does happen.
Yeah, she's a big beam out that bounces around until
and hits
the horse.
Horsey, and Horsey turns into this majestic
rainbow winged unicorn.
Rainbow winged unicorn. I was gonna drop a big whole nerd thing, but let's not do that. And the horse looks and freaks out.
Yeah, so because trying to get the wings off.
Because one thing I learned about this, everything is normal. It's not like a cartoon where it's not like an old cartoon where it happens and they're just automatically okay with it. No, the horse was a regular horse. Now it has wings and a horn. It's freaking out.
I love it. It's like trying to rub the wings off on its back, rolling around the ground in the middle of a big festival thing. It's just freaking out thoroughly.
Yeah. And she's freaking out like, no, come back, Horsey. And all of a sudden,
Adora runs into the middle of the village, a bright moon, and tries to stop it, but of course
the robes fall out. And by the way, that undershirt she wears all the time, it has a giant Horde symbol on the back. That's why she wears robes. Yep. And everyone sees this. Yep. And remember pitchforks and torches?
Yep. Immediately, a very specific guard. We see a dark-skinned guard with black hair and a scar across
her nose. Yep.
Yep. And they immediately try to attack her, along with this giant Minotaur woman. Try to attack her. She flees into a river and just kind of runs for her life. This is when we see Glimmer and Bo are readying up to show She-Ra.
I love it so much. Hey, Bo, make sure the surprise is ready. Okay, runs normally, and you see him hiking back with wide eyes. Glimmer, we have a problem. All of a sudden, Mom decides to clicks that something's up, and of course, what did you do? Cut to the fright zone.
I was gonna say, wait, the guards come up and say something like there's a Horde soldier attacking.
That's right. It's like the surprise isn't in there. Your Majesty, the Horde soldier was attacking with a winged beast.
Yeah.
Then it was the what did you do?
Fright
Cut to the fright zone. Where Catra is.
We see. Now we see in subtitles her name. The dark-skinned member of the Horde squad name is Lonnie.
Yep,
that's we see that she is explaining. Man, there was a princess 12 feet tall. She was incredible. She knocked out everybody. She destroyed everything. Catra's
by the way,
man,
disclaimer:
so tough.
Every time She-Ra appears, someone is going to mention how tall she is.
Of course,
and it usually always changes. But the only thing is that she is very tall. Anyway, that's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, Catra was kind of she wasn't so tough. It was just a fluke. It was just a screw up. And they're like, man, shut up, Catra. You know what you're talking about.
Oh, and then the seething moment where Lonnie's just careful, Catra. Adora ain't here to protect you. And that kind of hits hard because, Catra knows the truth.
Yeah, Catra kind of steps up to Lonnie and kind of shoves her and says, don't worry, I know that new princess's secret. I'm going to take her down. And then Lonnie's just yeah, whatever. We cut back to Adora still fleeing, and she feels terrible for not listening to the group.
Yep.
The sword won't help, and it continues to not really function for her.
And that's when she comes across a hut.
Yeah.
With a very short purple lady with big glasses and long hair, and all of a sudden
a bunch of weird butterflies flying around her head like flies.
Either talking to herself or the butterflies, we don't know. And she's like, "Who's there?" Adora comes out and goes, "Sorry, I didn't mean to intrude." Oh, Mara!
Yeah,
it's been so long.
Yeah,
we were supposed to pick berries.
Yeah, and we see that she says that her name is Madame Raz.
Madame Raz.
Yep.
And of course, the reason why Mara, quote unquote Mara, is supposed to be there is because they're going to berry pick.
Yeah.
And of course Adora's like, whoa. Yeah, no. I'm not who you think I am.
And this is when we get a very telling line. Raz says Adora must not know her yet. And it said, it's not my Mara's time yet, is it? Saying that Adora has the sword now. And then she's like, what the heck are you talking about? Adora follows her and thinks that this crazy lady is weird.
Typical crazy lady. Crazy, ominous thing. Crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we cut back.
Oh, no, wait, before that, we see her follow the old lady saying, man, what am I doing? This woman's insane. And then she finds a giant first one ruin.
Yes, you're right. We find a big old ruin. And we see Raz just randomly climbing up this thing like it's nothing.
Yep.
And of course Adora's like, whoa, no, you shouldn't do that. And of course Lady Raz is like, hey, best place for berries.
Yep,
she touches something, a whole barrier appears around the first one's
yep. She also as she's hopping up and she's like touching stuff and like stuff is lighting up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she gets shocked, she falls down, and of course I think Adora catches her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course she's like, well, that was interesting.
Yeah, a big giant hologram of a city-looking scape pops up around them.
With the stars.
Yeah, and then we see a giant display of stars in the sky, and then Raz is like, oh, what happened to the stars? And she's like, what are you talking about, lady? Adora, once again, has more Light Hope visions and baby noises and seeing some planets, and it's all crazy visions.
Yep, and one of the visions is actually stars.
Yeah, and this is when... Once again, Raz goes back to seeming crazy, but wants to continue picking berries.
Yep. And of course, Mara's basket is still empty. So come on, let's go.
Yep, and this is when we finally flash back to the Fright Zone and see Catra lying in Adora's old bed and sees a little sketch of her and Adora as kids.
And in like actual like typical fashion, she scratches it.
Yeah.
And then she just scratches.
She scratches it and is like shocked that she did that, and then she immediately starts ripping up the bed. Yeah.
And she's obviously very torn apart. No pun intended. Adora did. She saw Adora do the thing.
Yeah, she's tearing up and everything. It's really
And then of course that's when
Shadow Weaver pops up.
Just comes in and says, "Hey, what happened, you failure?"
Yeah, she chastises her again and surrounds her with the crazy shadowy tendrils. Catra explains, well, it's not my fault. Adora defected. There's nothing we can do. And she says, show some respect. How dare you? She takes Catra and says, I'm going to take you to Horde.
Yep. Yeah, all that back talking led to her finally going to talk to Horde.
Yeah.
And then we go to, Raz and Adora.
Yeah.
Where as they're picking berries and as Adora's like, tell me about the sword and everything, they actually stumble across more desolate land where the Horde attacked.
A big battlefield with leftover tanks and whatnot. This is when she explains to Adora that this is where the princesses fought when they used to help out. Now they just stick to their own castles and the Horde is spreading. She keeps comparing Adora to Mara for some reason. Adora eventually then finds Horsey being attacked by the Horde and transforms once again to help properly.
Yep, and then of course she does a whole lot of fighting. She as all of this fighting happens, she gets injured. But, of course, she continues on, frees Horsey, and when all the Horde soldiers are gone, she reverts back and passes out.
Yeah. Raz, we forgot during the fight, Raz saves the horse, but then
that's
Grizzlor.
Right, she passes out. And then, and then as the Horde soldiers see that Adora's passed out, they start going over to her, and that's when Raz does what Raz does best. Takes a handful of berries, yells razzle dazzle, throws them on the ground, and just apparently ninjas out of there because it causes a smoke screen. Yeah. And then we cut to Adora in a bed.
Yeah. With Raz is overlooking her, along with the horse, whose name we learned is Swiftwind.
Yes, and by the way, she can talk to Swiftwind when Swiftwind is just a horse, does not talk.
Yeah.
But Raz was talking to Swiftwind, and Swiftwind wants Adora to know that he prefers to be called Swiftwind, and Horsey was a very dumb name.
Yeah. Adora says that she does realize that she does need to defend the planet.
If the princesses won't, I will.
Yeah. Swiftwind allows her to ride, and they fly back to Bright Moon. Glimmer is
Glimmer's
being
being chastised again.
Yep.
You let a Horde soldier in here and blah, blah, blah. Mom, it's not like that. You're not listening. Blah, blah. She-Ra appears.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, Mom, this is... And, of course, the queen knows She-Ra. She says, Glimmer approaches Adora. Does she transform back yet? Or?
Oh, wait, actually, this is the scene because She-Ra walks up and goes, yes, I'm She-Ra, but there's something you need to know. Reverts back to Adora, and everyone's just like... And
she's a Horde soldier.
Yeah, she explains that she used to be part of the Horde, but she saw enough where she does the bow and holds up the sword.
Pledges her loyalty to the rebellion.
Yep, and that she's gonna and of course, Is this when we find out the queen's name?
Yep, Queen Angela.
Thank you. Good, I can finally say that now.
Yeah, it says that the protector She-Ra has returned as foretold in some sort of prophecy.
But before she actually accepts her, she does the whole, okay, so you're willing to go against everything that you knew to protect us. And of course, Adora's like, yeah. And of course, Angela looks at Glimmer and goes, and you're willing to vouch for her and take full responsibility for her. And of course, Glimmer's like, yep. And so she's like, okay, She-Ra's back. She-Ra has joined us. And everyone's just like, yeah,
She-Ra.
Meanwhile, back at the Fright Zone, we finally get to at least see something of Hordak.
Yep, Shadow Weaver's bringing her in. We see a weird little imp crawling around a weird fancy chair.
With a strangely baby face.
Yeah, very weird.
Very strangely baby face.
But then we see Shadow Weaver with Catra explaining, and in the shadows we see Hordak.
And of course, Hordak is just like, okay, hold on. So why are we here?
Yeah.
And Shadow Weaver's like, this one
Catra
failed to do. Yeah, of course. It's Shadow Weaver, so
yeah.
This one, Catra, if you did a horrible job on her mission of getting Adora back, and Hordak goes, yeah, remember, no, we're getting a new Force Captain. Hey, come here, Catra.
Yeah.
Here, be a Force Captain. And
he's just like, we're not going to waste all these resources on one soldier. Who cares if she's gone missing? Who cares? It doesn't matter. We have bigger plans. And then, promotes her despite Shadow Weaver chastising Catra all the time. And,
And, of course, Catra is really happy about this. And that's where it cuts.
Yeah.
You know what? If there's one thing about this episode that I really, really want, I want to see more Raz. She's hilarious. She's literally the sassy grandma in every Disney movie.
Sassy grandma, yeah. We're gonna get a lot of her in the future. Yeah, don't worry.
That's good because one thing we forgot to mention was Adora's like, "Will I see you again?" And of course she's like, "Anytime you need me, you'll know where to find me," kind of thing. But and we got Swiftwind, hell yeah. And also finally get to see a Hordak. Very big episode. Yeah. By the way, we forgot to mention, it's not just him in the shadows. At the last thing he says, we actually see his face.
Yeah.
Which is why I was like, he looks very familiar.
Yeah, you probably have seen the doll or the figures or something from the 80s and 90s in maybe the reboot show. Yeah, he's a very important character.
Apparently so.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, oh my goodness. Finally, watching this series, and but I see why you like it.
It's dude, you have no idea yet.
You're right. You're how many seasons this?
Five. But they're you're gonna see the second season is 6 episodes, and then the one after that's 7 episodes. But then it goes back. But then it goes back to full 13 episode arcs. But yeah. I love this show. It's also funny, kind of like Young Justice, where we kind of gloss over the fight scenes for the most part. The characters are so rich and insanely developed that you just talk about the plot more often than the actual kicking and fighting.
I did notice. We'll get to it in the next episode. I'll make that observation. But there is an observation I want to point out in episode 2 of this show that because right now this was it was a 3 episode arc where we actually establish all of the story kind of thing, and I like that. It only took 3 episodes, which for some places might be for some series might be too long. Because usually they try to do it in the first one, or because it was a 2-parter in 2 parts. But they took as much time as they needed. Yeah, and it was beautifully done.
Absolutely. Also, a big factor in that is the fact that it was from DreamWorks, but put on Netflix first. Netflix first distribution, so it was not weekly. They knew when they made the show it's going to be whole bingeable season immediately. So take all the time you need.
Yep, because that's exactly how Netflix works.
Yeah, it's very much appreciated because they had all the breathing room to tell the story. They didn't have to be okay, you have 22 minutes to get the entire plot out, and that's all the time you have. Hurry it up, and they're no, we can stretch this out, can build everything, give characters room to breathe, and give people room to develop. It's so much appreciated.
Which, by the way, yes, on the very first episode, I did notice DreamWorks worked on it.
Yeah.
And you could definitely tell by the animation. Same guy, for those of you who don't know, same guys who did the new Voltron that Netflix. Oh my goodness. Like, when I saw that, I'm like, wait, DreamWorks did this? And then, yeah, it shows a lot. Oh, they did such a good job. You know, honestly, if DreamWorks takes over 80s cartoons and redoes them, I'd be okay with it.
They're doing the He-Man show now.
I had a feeling they were working on it.
Yeah, is DreamWorks, I'm about to say, wait, is He-Man, She-Ra, and Voltron, they're not Hasbro properties, I don't believe, right?
I thought Voltron was.
Is it? I wasn't sure. I'm not sure who owned He-Man stuff, maybe. Also, I was going to say, are you familiar with like the Toys Who Made Us on Netflix?
No, I've not watched it. I've seen it in passing, but
you should definitely watch an episode because the thing on He-Man is hilarious when you find out why he has like the giant cat and like the actual like businessmen, like 80s coked up businessmen who were just, you know, throwing out ideas to make money to sell toys. When you actually hear the specific story of how they ended up with that big green cat, it's insane.
Oh, no.
But like it's like all these shows were made by, you know, crazy 80s cokeheads, but it's incredible that they're being handled so well and properly now these days. But yeah, it's absolutely. I'm glad we're starting this series. I'm glad you're enjoying it as much as you are.
Oh my goodness,
it's gonna get so good.
It will. Like honestly, that's all I can do for my final thoughts on this. And yeah, so obviously we're going to be doing the entire series that they have so far. I don't know, is season 5 the final?
Oh yeah. The series is.
It's done now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we'll be doing all 5 seasons, obviously. But yeah, for those of you who listen in, if this interests you, I know to some of the more macho of you out there, because let's be honest, we still have some of those.
Of course.
It's a lot better than it seems. It's not as girly as it seems. Yeah. Give it a watch. It is spectacular.
Yeah, and for people who like girly stuff, it's very girly and it's very good. It's very intense and very well written and incredibly acted and absolutely wonderful. It's an amazing series.
Yes, it is.
One of my favorites. We're going to have a number of guests on this season, a couple of real fans of the series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to look forward to that. But I think we're going to wrap up this one to record our next episode of the podcast. But before then, plugs.
I have none because thanks to the incident, I've been set back so much.
I get it.
Yeah, but what about you? I know you've been working really hard.
Oh, of course. The Forgotten Minotaur King has wrapped up at this point. The podcast is available where you found this one. But more importantly, I got the thing turned into a book. Read my novel, The Forgotten Minotaur King. Forward by Ed Bobanchek, frequent guest on this podcast, and our other friend who will be joining us for this series, Tara Nestor, did the art for the book. The Forgotten Minotaur King, now available on Amazon.com. Also, my Twitter. Oh, Ben, you have a Twitter now.
Nope.
Yes, you do. You have it.
No, I honestly don't.
I tag you and stuff all the time.
Do you?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, then I haven't checked it in so long because, I said, dude, I've been set back so much because of different things. But either way.
Yeah, Matthew Lewis Podcasts, at Matthew Lewis P. The YouTube channel, Matthew Lewis Podcasts. Yep, all that stuff. Patreon, same thing, still up.
And by the way, is this podcast now on Spotify and the Apple Podcast stuff?
As of right now, I don't know if you can still get the RSS feed. I put it on pause because of COVID, and we weren't able to make new episodes for that time period. But it is available on YouTube. Okay,
yeah, because I knew you were trying to get Minotaur King and stuff on other plugs. So
they were during when they were running. Yeah, the Apple iTunes and Spotify and all that did have them.
Okay, good. Yeah. Excellent. So, well, we finally get to say it. How do we always wrap this up, my friend? All of you out there, keep it sleazy.